When you hear the term betta fish, how many of you automatically flash back to a fond memory involving a mirror and some very angrily inflated gills? Or maybe you just picture rows and rows of tiny cups overflowing pet store shelves. While most people are familiar with betta fish and whatever response it provokes from them, people oftentimes don't realize the work that goes into maintaining our fancy finned friends and keeping them happy and healthy. I'm sure everyone has either had a betta fish at some point or has known someone who's had one, so it's important to know how to care for them. I've had a betta fish for over a year now, and within that time have become accustomed to all the hard work and dedication that goes into maintaining one. My purpose today is to provide you first with some basic betta knowledge, then introduce you to a way to simulate an ecologically sound environment, and lastly, to introduce to you common stressors that could interfere with your betta's health. To begin, I'd like to supply some defining features of betta fish, which will be essential in understanding how to care for your fish. Betta splendens, commonly known as Siamese fighting fish, or more simply just bettas, originate from the marshes of Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, Vietnam, parts of China, and the males are known for their vibrant colors, flamboyant fins, and aggressive nature. In these places, bettas live in shallow waters and enjoy a plentiful variety of lush vegetation. They contain a labyrinth organ, which allows them to breathe from the surface and equips them to sustain harsh environments. So, like when the water levels drop too low, bettas jump from place to place to find a new home, and if one comes in contact with another, they fight to the death. This is where they get the name Siamese fighting fish. In pet stores, most have been bred in captivity, but they do have things in common with bettas found in the wild. Known for their feisty personalities, some male bettas are bred specifically for aggression to ensure better fights, as Shirley Sharp, avid fish keeper, author, and photographer, notes in her article on bettas for About.com. Because of their nature, bettas need to be kept alone with a female or with a very calm aquatic species such as snails, ghost shrimp, dwarf frogs, or algae eaters, which are just a few of the compatible tank mates mentioned in Betta Care 101, a website. In nature, this species is not usually as brightly colored either. However, captive breeding have resulted in a wide variety of bold color patterns. Males are also known for their flowing fins, and the specific types, according to Pet Supplies Plus, include veil-tail, half-moon, crown-tail, and double-tail. So now that you know a little bit about bettas and their background, let's apply what we've learned to help us assemble a tank that truly mimics for your betta what one in the wild might experience. It's important to maintain pristine water conditions, obtain the right vegetation, and to not deviate from proper feeding habits. According to Pet Supplies Plus, a betta fish should be kept in a glass aquarium of at least 2.5 to 5 gallons, and the water used must be purified. Additionally, retail pet supermarket PetSmart insists that water be maintained between 74 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit, and Shirley Sharp would concur, as she remarks that bettas thrive on heat and will become increasingly listless when the water drops below 75 degrees. You must also pick the right plants, and although low lighting from your tank will provide which plants you can pick, remember that bettas love lush vegetation, which provides them with plenty of places to hide. My fish, Slughorn, has been successful in using Java ferns, mossballs, and water sprites. You want to make sure that you don't have an overgrowth of algae. And so to do that, you need to leave the light on in the tank for only 12 hours and to clean the tank regularly. So now let's go over some guidelines for feeding your betta. Bettas are carnivores and in the wild live on insects and insect larvae. So because of this diet, Shirley Sharp informs us that their digestive tract is much shorter than that of vegetarian fish, and a diet of live foods is ideal. But bettas in captivity will adapt to eating flakes or frozen or freeze-dried foods as well. My fish, Slughorn, prefers a diet of freeze-dried worms and betta pellets though, not flakes. So I'm sure that all of you will abide by all the rules and regulations I provided for you for keeping your betta healthy, but it's inevitable that your fish will come into contact with at least one disease in his or her lifetime. So some fish diseases need to be identified by professionals, but warning signs and common diseases can be spotted and hopefully treated by the average fish owner without issue. According to PetSmart, signs that your fish are under the weather include a decreased appetite, abdominal swelling, discolored or inflamed fins, and thrashing into objects in the tank, also known as flashing. Now that you know the signs of distress, it's time to identify the cause. Most diseases are a result of poor water conditions, and as detailed by betatalk.com's section on fish diseases, fungal infections identified by white flaky patches, ick identified by white raised bumps, and tail rot identified by blackened edges of fins are all diseases that are contracted with poor maintenance. To combat these diseases, the page suggests a use of Morrison 1 and 2, which is a fungal eliminator / antibiotic, and a sprinkle of aquarium salt. The one disease you want to worry about is dropsy, and is identified by inflamed scales around the gills and lopsided swimming. When my fish slughorn contracted this disease, he looked like a pine cone, and I thought that he was fated for death. However, after 2 weeks of sustaining an environment that mimicked a natural one and providing him with some Morrison and a bit of aquarium salt, he was back to normal. So to conclude, there are many steps you want to take if you want your beta's life to go as swimmingly as possible. Beta fish are intelligent, brightly colored, and aggressive species, and they take a lot of care and maintenance if you want them to live their life to their full potential. So now that you know a bit about tank maintenance, proper feeding techniques, and the ways to identify the warning signs of an unhealthy beta, it's time to begin fulfilling that task. So the next time your residence allows you to only get a fish, and you decide that you want one, remember all the hard work and dedication that goes into caring for one, and be ready to take on the challenge.